It is the most uncomfortable question in the Formula One paddock right now, and it is the one question that absolutely nobody inside the Aston Martin garage wants to answer. Is it finally time for Lance Stroll to leave the sport? When we talk about driver transfers, contract negotiations, and who deserves a seat on the grid, there is always one seat that is completely immune to the normal rules of Formula One, the second seat at Aston Martin. It is a seat that does not depend on points, qualifying pace, or championship standings. It depends entirely on family ties, but as Aston Martin transforms from a plucky midfield team into a massive corporate operation with championship ambitions, the elephant in the room is getting too big to ignore. For years, the narrative around Stroll has been simple. He is the ultimate pay driver. His billionaire father, Lawrence Stroll, bought the team to guarantee his son a seat. But that narrative is actually unfair to the driver Lance Stroll used to be. When he arrived in Formula One in 2017, he was not just a rich kid with a steering wheel. He was a genuine talent. He won the Italian F4 Championship. He won the Toyota Racing Series. He absolutely dominated the FIA Formula 3 European Championship in 2016. He earned his super license the hard way, and when he finally arrived in Formula One with Williams, he actually delivered moments of genuine brilliance. In his rookie season, he kept his head during the incredibly chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix to score a podium finish, becoming the second youngest driver in the history of the sport to stand on an F1 podium. That was not a fluke. It required immense concentration while world champions were crashing out around him. Then came 2020, the year of the pink Mercedes. At the Turkish Grand Prix, on a track that was as slippery as an ice rink, Stroll put his racing point on pole position. It was a lap that required incredible car control, bravery, and natural feeling for the grip levels. He beat Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in equal conditions. He has 3 career podiums to his name. He has proven, without a shadow of a doubt, that on his absolute best days, when the car suits him and the conditions are right, he belongs on the grid. But that is the problem. Those best days were years ago. We are now in the 2026 season. This is Lance Stroll's 10th year in Formula One. He has started nearly 200 Grand Prix. He is no longer a rookie learning the ropes, and he is no longer a young driver developing his racecraft. He is a veteran, and yet his performance has not improved. In fact, it has gone backwards. Let's look at the hard, unforgiving numbers from the current 2026 season. After 10 rounds of the championship, including the recent Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, Lance Stroll has scored exactly 0 points. 0. In a car that is capable of fighting in the midfield, he has completely failed to register on the scoreboard. He has suffered 4 retirements so far this year, including a frustrating gearbox failure under the virtual safety car at Spa, and a battery issue that ended his race early in China. But the real concern is not the mechanical failures, it is his pace when the car is actually running. Even when he finishes the race, he is nowhere near the points-paying positions. He finished a dismal 17th in Miami, 15th at his home race in Canada, and 19th at Silverstone. Because of this string of poor results, he is currently sitting 22nd in the Drivers' Championship. The most damning evidence, however, is the comparison with his teammate. In Formula One, your teammate is your only true benchmark because they are driving the exact same machinery. For the last 4 seasons, Stroll has been paired with Fernando Alonso, and the qualifying head-to-head is brutal. In the 2026 season alone, Alonso is beating Stroll 8-2 in Grand Prix qualifying and a perfect 4-0 in sprint qualifying. The only time Stroll has managed to out-qualify Alonso this year were at Barcelona, where they locked out the back row together, and at Silverstone, where grid penalties skewed the final starting order. If we look back at last season, in 2025, Alonso scored 56 points while Stroll managed only 33. Over their entire time as teammates, Alonso has out-qualified Stroll in nearly 90% of their races. And this is not a new trend. Before Alonso arrived, Stroll was paired with 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. Vettel beat him comfortably. Before that, he was paired with Sergio Perez, who also dominated the intra-team battle. The data is overwhelmingly clear. When put against top-tier talent, Stroll is consistently slower, both over a single qualifying lap and over a full race distance. He burns through his tyres faster, his race pace drops off quicker, and his spatial awareness in wheel-to-wheel combat has led to numerous avoidable collisions. This lack of performance is starting to draw heavy criticism from inside the paddock. Former Formula One driver Ralf Schumacher recently made headlines when he explicitly called for Stroll to leave the sport. Speaking to Sky Germany, Schumacher said that Stroll's performances are no longer acceptable. He pointed to the young talent waiting in the wings, specifically mentioning Formula 2 drivers who deserve a chance. Honestly, when I see how well the Formula 2 winner has done, he deserves to be in a car like that 1,000 times more, Schumacher said. In my opinion, he's a candidate who shouldn't really be in Formula 1 anymore. Definitely. Schumacher's brutal assessment highlights the real, tangible cost of Stroll's continued presence on the grid. Formula One is the most exclusive sporting club in the world. There are only 20 seats available. Every single seat occupied by a driver who is consistently underperforming is a seat denied to a hungry generational talent who might be the next world champion. We are currently witnessing an incredible generation of young drivers trying to break into the sport. Drivers like Liam Lawson, Oliver Bearman, and Kimi Antonelli have had to fight tooth and nail, winning championships in the junior categories just to get a foot in the door. Meanwhile, Stroll's seat is guaranteed by his father's ownership of the team, regardless of how many times he crashes or how far down the order he finishes. This fundamental unfairness is starting to grate on the fans, the media, and even other drivers in the paddock. And that ownership dynamic is becoming a problem for Aston Martin's future. Lawrence Stroll has invested hundreds of millions of dollars into the team. He has built a state-of-the-art factory at Silverstone. He has secured an exclusive engine partnership with Honda for 2026. And most importantly, he has hired Adrian Newey, the greatest aerodynamicist in Formula One history, to design their car. Aston Martin is no longer a midfield team happy to score occasional points. They are building a championship contending operation, but you cannot win a Constructors' Championship with only one driver scoring heavy points. If Newey delivers a race-winning car, Aston Martin will need two elite drivers to maximize its potential. Fernando Alonso is 44 years old, but he is still driving at an incredibly high level. Can the team honestly say that Lance Stroll is the right driver to partner him in a title fight? The situation is complicated by Stroll's contract. Unlike other drivers who sign 2 or 3 year deals, Stroll is on a rolling contract. He stays as long as he wants to stay, and as long as his father owns the team. There is no performance clause that can trigger his dismissal. The only way Lance Stroll leaves Aston Martin is if he decides to walk away himself. There are signs that he might be losing his passion for the sport. Earlier this year, Stroll was fiercely critical of the 2026 regulations, calling the cars sad and flawed. He stated that Formula One isn't fun to drive anymore, and that the sport is miles off where it should be. When a driver starts complaining that the cars are no longer fun to drive, it is often a sign that their motivation is fading. Stroll has previously competed in the 24 Hours of Daytona, and there is speculation that he might find endurance racing more enjoyable at this stage of his career. If Stroll were to finally step aside, it would completely blow the 2027 driver market wide open. Aston Martin would suddenly have the most desirable open seat on the entire grid, a seat in an Adrian Newey-designed car, powered by Works Honda engines, backed by unlimited resources. It would be the perfect destination for a top-tier driver looking for a fresh start. Imagine a driver like Carlos Sainz stepping into that Aston Martin seat. Or imagine a brilliant young rookie being given the chance to learn alongside Fernando Alonso. The potential for the team is limitless, but only if they are willing to make the hard choice regarding their driver lineup. There is also the psychological dynamic to consider. Driving for a team owned by your father is an immense burden. Every mistake is magnified, every success is questioned, and the respect of the paddock is incredibly difficult to earn. Lance Stroll has carried that weight for years. At a certain point, you have to wonder if the mental toll is simply no longer worth it. He has nothing left to prove to his critics because the critics will never change their minds, and he has already achieved more in motorsport than 99% of racing drivers ever will. Lance Stroll's Formula One career is a complicated legacy. He is not the worst driver to ever race in the sport, not by a long shot. He has genuine talent, and his podiums and pole position prove that he can deliver when the conditions are right. But Formula One is a ruthless sport that demands constant evolution. You cannot survive on potential forever. After 10 years, the results are simply not there. It is a difficult conversation for Lawrence Stroll to have with his son, but it is a conversation that needs to happen. For the good of Aston Martin's championship ambitions, and perhaps for the good of Lance Stroll's own happiness, it might be time to close this chapter and let someone else take the wheel.